Martin walked out really at 5 days before the start of the season, and it just seemed to send shockwaves through the whole of the camp. I mean, what's your views on his departure, and then the difficult, because they've had a very difficult season by their standards.
Yeah, I mean, I know Martin reasonably well, and I actually spoke to him 3 or 4 weeks ago, and we never got to the bottom of that, but he said that we're going to have a coffee one day and sit down, and he's going to tell me this, that and the other about it. So I think there's a little twist to the tale, which not too many of us know too much of. But yeah, it was a massive shock. I think Martin over the years has been seen as one of those fellas who sticks his contract through to the end and sees it out before he's actually moved on. So I think, like so many other people, you always felt there was something there which perhaps wasn't right from his point of view. But I think Villa over the last 20 odd years now has seen managers last 3 years and move on, and it didn't surprise me in some respects. You know, you get to the point in football clubs, in quite a few clubs, but Villa especially so, where 3 years seems to be the average sort of tenure for the more successful managers there, and then you get to that point where you think, I don't know if I can kick on any further from here. And looking back at Martin's 6th spot year in and year out and getting into cup finals, perhaps even he felt at that time that he wanted to kick on, but was finding it impossible to do so. We'll never quite know, but I thought he did a great job, and like everybody else was shocked at the timing of his departure more than anything else. And yes, it has been difficult since there on in. I don't think anybody would have looked at the season and thought they would have had the struggle they have had. But in fairness to Gerard Houllier, I think, you know, he's a well-set, well-versed manager who would come in and want to do it his way. Now, sometimes that's the most awkward thing in the world, coming in 3 or 4 or into the season itself. He came into it. The players were very much set in Martin's mould of how to do things and how they were going to do things. Perhaps a younger manager coming in might have come in and said, what has the previous manager done? I'll just do exactly the same, so to speak. And that might have gone along a little bit smoother for them. Someone like Gerard Houllier, who has his own ways, has come in and been strong enough and determined enough to do his own way.
How do you see the game panning out?
I do think both teams' mentality will see it being a close game. And I do think at this moment in time, if you could say to both managers, right, you can have a draw now and go home, I think they probably would, to be honest. I think they're that 1 point off feeling very, very secure. A win to either side would 100% cement the Premier League status. I do believe both teams will stay up now. But I do think that it'll be more of a cagey game than it would have been 6 months ago, for sure. I think Roy will be looking at his team saying, look, this is a game we don't need to lose. This is a game we need to stay strong on. And again, I think the onus will be on Villa to counter-attack them. And if Villa are prepared to counter-attack them, then it might open the game up a little bit. I really can see a goal or two in the game because, let's face it, Villa for this season, I think they've got the second worst defensive record in the division this season, which is really quite amazing, to be honest. So I can see a goal or two in it, but I ultimately think it could well be a draw this weekend.